Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
You know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby. For you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Janilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Hartzog Hustle Podcast, where we talk about the everyday hustle as it relates to business, entrepreneurship, and life. I am Mr. Hartzog Hustle himself, Anthony.
My name is Janilka.
You don't got a cool title like me?
No. Janilka Hartzog.
My beautiful wife here. And what's up? How you feeling?
I am doing great. It is a nice day out here in Dallas, Texas. No complaints. So
You still pregnant?
yes. What the hell?
Let's talk about that
you
a
may
little
not
bit.
be able to see that.
How you feeling?
Because I'm just carrying a little smaller, but
How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good.
You know what was one cool thing we did recently?
What's the cool thing?
The music thing.
What was it?
Remember the headset?
Oh, okay. I'm like, what was it? So we had it's called Belly Buds. That's what it's called, Belly Buds.
We ain't giving them no advertisement out here, but
I think that's what it's called. Whatever.
so the first song our baby got to listen to was what?
Beyonce. But it was her song for the King Richard movie, which is, I don't even know the name of it, but it's a really good,
King
powerful. Is the name of her song?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a good, powerful song, and it was a good song for the baby to hear first.
So that was one of the things I said. If we don't get this baby bud thing, then I can be listening to.
And so the baby listened to that, and then I was just gonna put on Beyonce Essentials on Apple Music. So
Because you're gonna be listening to Single Ladies, the baby gonna be listening to
Single lady. Instead,
Players
we
leave
put
your
on.
man at home. Nah, we ain't doing all that. I was like, if
But
you.
Beyonce don't have other. She has Love on Top. She has.
But if you're playing the essentials, it's going to be a certain number of songs
Whatever.
that I don't want my child hearing.
Well, we played the Lion King album instead, an inspirational album
Yeah,
instead
my
for the
choice.
babies to hear. But yeah, so we'll do that, and next up will be Future. There's
We got
balance.
bros in Atlanta.
There is balance. Anyway,
Is that Future?
huh?
Is that Future? No, that was
No,
the other
that's-
guy.
Yeah. I don't remember his name.
Whatever. But yes, that was pretty exciting.
So yeah, we did do that. Baby is bumping, and all is going well currently. Just, I mean, yeah, that's
Just
the
wanted
good
to
thing about
update the
it.
people. I thought that was pretty. That was
That,
pretty
yeah, I
cool
am.
thing.
You know, that's a good question because I'm like, I forgot.
You got to keep them posted as this goes
As
along.
things go along,
And
yeah.
again, the way we post the videos and the timeline may be different, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we post it before the child's here, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
You guys when you watch us a year from now talking about the kids, like, I got another one?
It's like, oh, is it the child one by now? But so yeah, but today we are talking about something that comes up. We go on our live meeting on Instagram, the Heartrimony, if you're not following us there.
Links will be somewhere below.
in
Make
our
sure you
show notes.
subscribe and like this podcast too.
Yes. People always ask, like, how do we manage the business together, right? Before we get to that, the question I had was, why do people feel like they need to know everything about a business to get started? And do you need to know, a certain amount of information, like do some research? Absolutely. But I think that at some point, the perfection becomes procrastination.
Oh, that's a bar.
I heard that somewhere, so I
Still
didn't.
a bar. It don't gotta be your bar.
It
Don't gotta be your bar. It's still a bar.
But the
what do you
perfection
mean by that though?
becomes procrastination. I need to dot all my I's, cross all my T's, keeps you from getting started, right? So what's the reason that people feel like they need to know it all? Because you won't know it all. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing absolutely in life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why do we feel that we need to know it all when it comes to the business side of things?
We get people who ask us, like, if you guys don't know, we have a 6-figure cleaning business, and we teach people how to get their cleaning business up and running. Cleaningbusinessuniversity.com sponsored this episode. We may say that a few times. Link will be somewhere below again. But we get a bunch of questions, and it's like, we can sit here and answer all the questions for you, right? Which we have done, which we do sometimes. But at the end of the day, we can't tell you everything it is to take everything that it takes to run a business.
Not at all.
Because there's going to be a problem that we face that you may never face, or vice versa. There may be a problem that you face that we don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. And our experience is going to be different. Like essentially, okay, it's the same business. So a cleaning business, we may go through the same thing: hard customers, finding good contractors.
Yep.
Like those are things that come up regardless, right? But what I do and what you do is different. I don't know if you're going to show up like how I showed up, or I may not show up the way you showed up, and vice versa. But it's so many people just wanting to make sure things are perfect. And I think part of the process and learning is on the days that things go bad.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
That's how you know I ain't gonna do this again next time. Or like I learned from this what I did this time. And so now I know how to adjust it on my website, how I respond, whatever the case may be.
Michael Jordan wouldn't be Michael Jordan if he didn't face the Detroit Pistons and they spanked him really bad.
I watched the series was it last year already?
Yeah, it was last year. They spanked him really bad. So Michael Jordan just came in and won a bunch of games. He wouldn't be Michael Jordan. He had to lose really bad in order to say, how do I win?
Yeah, how do I fix, if this person is going left, I need to know to go right and left or whatever.
How do I know where my flaws are if I'm always winning?
Right.
If I know the whole game, how do I know what my flaws are? So when he faced the Detroit Pistons, he knew like, all right, they beat me here, here, and here. How do I improve? So next time I face them, I know what I need to be doing better.
Right. And and that's the other thing, is just like nothing in life you know everything about.
Yeah.
You don't know everything about having a child.
No.
Nothing at all.
I know nothing.
Everybody says every child is different, and even your two children that you have are different from each other, and one took bottle, one is going to take a nipple, one is not. I mean, there's so many different things that go on with children and just life in general.
Yep.
I just don't understand why people feel like they need to know it all when it comes to business. And I thought about it because we just hear that question so much. What about this? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about this? Like, you'll learn it. It'll happen and you move forward. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, even if I do tell you what happens, it may be a one minor nuance that I may have left out, or your situation may be different, and now everything I just told you is thrown out the window.
Yep.
Going back to a sports analogy, people always got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That was like Mike Tyson, something like that. And then you get that punch in the mouth and they're like, okay, I know what to do differently next time. Yeah. But you have to let those things happen. Even we don't know. I mean, next business we start, we're not going to know everything about it.
No, the podcast. Hello.
We know nothing about this.
We still have other things to learn. Mannerisms, mic, colors, eye contact, sponsorship. There's so much more that we have to learn, that we'll learn as we go along. But we getting started.
One thing I do try to do, I don't think I'm a procrastinator, but I do want to learn as much as possible before I do certain things.
Right, and I think that's understandable. Like you're doing research about stuff. You're finding out what it is, maybe how to maneuver it, what I need to do to start at a specific level, if you will.
Yeah.
That is
I don't want to
part
start
of the
from
process.
ground zero. I want to learn from someone's mistakes. So I may take a course, or I may do a consultation, or I never pick anyone's brain at this point, but I may have those conversations so that I can know, at least early on, how to get to where they are. That's my goal. Like, you get me to where you are, I'm good. And that's it.
Yeah.
But I don't use that I try not to use that as a crutch, though. I think a lot of people use it as crutches.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, well, I don't have this tip about this. And like, you know, we get emails, well, tell me more about this. Tell me more about this course. And it's like, I'm
Ain't
like,
no more, B.
there is nothing else for me to give. Okay. Like, I think it's different. It's like, I'm new here. I haven't found out about you guys. Sure, I can send you a link of something, whatever. But if you've been following us for months or something like that, it's just kind of like, what more can I give? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, you mind if I read this email that we got today from someone?
Sure, go ahead.
Talking about, is there more? So this literally came in today, and I want to read it because it's exactly what you're talking about, and I don't know how to respond because normally I come to you with these questions. So I'm trying to find the email. Give me 1 second. So it's in regards to just asking more. So, I may have deleted it. I want more information as to what you guys are teaching. What exactly is being taught?
Our website has every, it has all the information.
But that goes back to the procrastination, though.
No, I know.
Because I could sit there and give them the whole list of things that's being taught.
They still have more
even though it's on the website.
Mm-hmm. The website clearly breaks down the curriculum of what exactly is being taught.
But why do people feel like that goes back to the procrastination part. Is like people want to know every single thing about every aspect,
and they can't know, and I can't provide it to you either. I simply don't know every single thing either. I don't know what it's going to take for me to say to you for you to be like, okay, I can start.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know, but I just thought of that while we have this conversation about managing business as a couple.
But that's a good intro too, because I'm asking you how to respond to that email.
Yeah.
And that's how we normally manage our business.
That is definitely how we manage our business. So
what businesses do we have? Let's start there.
Let's start there. Our first business was our cleaning business that we still have up and running now. Then we have a car rental business where our car is on a shared platform. We rent it out for people to use. Then we have investment properties. Essentially, we only have one right now, but
working on number 2.
Working on
Keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed about number 2.
Multiple to have more in our portfolio for that. That's our third business. Our fourth business would be our virtual assistant business that we just started that this year. And then
we acquired that one.
We bought that business this year. And then our fifth business would be our brand, the Heartrimony brand on Instagram, which will encompass our course as well, you would say. So
our course as well as our podcast.
Our course, yeah. The podcast, I actually would give it a different business. It's a bit...
Heartrimony pays for it.
Yeah, but it's a separate business, though. At some point, it needs to have its own everything, bank account and everything. So the podcast would technically be the sixth business, right? So those are the 6 businesses that we have together.
Yeah.
We do not have any businesses separately.
No. So I don't have like a separate thing that I do on myself in terms of business, and you don't have a separate thing that you do.
Right. Even though I've told you to do things separately on your own.
Yeah, I wanted you to do therapy, too. You didn't do that.
Business on my own?
Yeah.
What therapy? What are you talking about?
The practice stuff.
I do have. What do you mean?
Like start your
own
on
my own.
Stuff,
yeah, I didn't want to do that. No. But so those are the 6 businesses we have together. We don't have anything separate. But yeah, why don't we have anything separate?
Because I feel like we do things best together. That would be my answer. And think about it like this. If I had my own, let's say let's talk about the podcast, right? If I came here and did my own podcast, it'd be cool.
I thought that it would be great with you.
I think it'd be cool. But I think people get better value from having both of us here together.
Okay.
I think the conversation is better. I think the dialogue is better. I think the
dynamic
is better. I think the spectrums of our mind are better together. I think that's how it relates in business as well.
That's how you relate it to all of our businesses. That is correct. You are very specific about that. I say because I'm not as business minded as Anthony is, which I understand that. So a lot of times he comes up with things. So I feel like instead of holding you back, that you should just go ahead and do it. I'm like, I support you from afar, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think real estate is my thing.
Real estate is definitely your thing.
So the one property we have was kind of like my project.
But because
you with it,
you're a bit more involved, yes. But I'm still involved. So for me, if it's your business, I'm not involved in no capacity.
If you say go out and get more real estate properties and you're not involved, then sure, I'm doing it.
Right. But that's not the case.
The stuff that I do want to do, you're like, well, I need to be.
The only other thing you want to do is the trucking.
Nah.
And that was a hell no. That I put my foot down. No one in this house is doing that.
No one. Not even the kid.
No.
The kid wants to be a trucker. No.
No one in the house is doing that business. But so yeah, so you feel like us doing it together makes it better, and that's why we have all of our businesses together. My thought is I don't really come up with business ideas, so I don't got no real thoughts on that. There's nothing that at this point at least, that I would want to do independently that I'm not doing.
But I think it's also important, especially in a relationship, is that your partner knows the ins and outs of the business, the nuances, the challenges, where their skeletons are buried, things like that. So I think that's important for us. And I'm proud to say that you're involved with all the business, because I don't think a lot of husband and wife combos can say that my wife can run the business without me.
Right.
So I think that's important to say. All right, well, if I'm dead or if I'm gone or whatever, you can run the businesses.
Yeah.
Like you know the accounts, you know the people, you know how to run it, you know how to manage it, you know the systems, the process, procedures. And that's for everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to say as well.
Okay. So that's the reason why we have all of our businesses together.
Do you not agree? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Well, let's talk about that for a little bit.
No, I don't disagree.
Do you find that to be not important?
No, I think that's very important because you see all the time with housewives and different things.
Let's stick on that one for a little bit.
No, I'm just serious. The housewives are just reality TV. You see it and people pass away. People are like, I have no idea. Or when the government gets involved.
Yeah.
And people
I didn't know
like,
that he was smuggling money. Like, you would know.
we got Erica Janes, or Karen from Potomac, like the tax stuff, all those things happen. And people,
and I find that,
some people say, like, I even had this conversation with my best friend, like, how could you not know? And I'm like, I could see people not knowing at some point. Like, it's not necessarily how we run our household, but I can see people, wives or even husbands not knowing, because a lot of these people have separate businesses. Some of them have businesses together with their significant other, but a lot of them have like their own thing. So it's their own thing. It's their own managers, their own accountants, their own lawyers, their own SOPs and stuff like that. So Ray, I'm thinking about Karen on Potomac. She got her own candle line, like her whole thing going, her perfume candle. Ray don't got nothing to do with that.
And I think that's one of those little businesses too.
What little businesses? Her businesses is in Bloomingdale's, sweetheart.
I think for him it's like it's a little business, but I don't think he takes it as seriously as she does.
Because it's not his.
I just think he doesn't take her seriously.
Or because of who he is.
Yeah, I don't think he takes her seriously.
Ray's just trying to make it to another age.
Yeah, exactly. So, but if you're like, I'm gonna do this candle thing, and I'm like, I'm supporting you, I'm gonna know about how to run the business. And when you listen to these stories, you're like, well, they was avoiding taxes. Like, that would be impossible because you manage the bank account.
But not everybody has their money together.
Yeah, that's another part of it too.
And then you have to think about it a bigger scale, right? So even if like we both have our own, I like to call it allowance. You don't like that name, but we both have our own allowance or money, meaning we have our own separate accounts. But the amount of money, like,
you smuggling money out the family accounts, what you saying?
No. What I'm trying to say is the amount of money that those people have in their separate accounts compared to like what I got in my separate account, it's probably significantly different. No, let's not talk about that. I spend my money, you save on yours. It's probably significantly different. What I'm trying to say is like they probably have like in their own separate account maybe $3 million or something like that. So they could be doing God knows what with that money. Not that they're not telling their, other person, but it's from their personal account. Yeah. So it's not even touching with the family money. So there's so many ways and reasons why I could understand how somebody may not have any idea of any inkling of things coming down on them.
Tax evasion and stuff like that.
Like the tax stuff.
And they're like, well, I don't know how that happened. And then your question is like, well, how did you not know how that happened under your roof?
Under your roof. It's like,
so I guess,
having conversations.
I guess I could understand that, which is why I make sure that we do everything together.
Because there ain't no tax evasion up in here.
If I miss something, like, let's say, like, for the tax conversation, you always remind me, all right, it's the 15th of the month.
Yeah.
Make sure you pay the sales tax or whatever, even though I get emails and reminders. You're like, I want to make sure that you're paying it.
Yeah. There's an alert. We got an alert on the family calendar, so no one miss a beat that this needs to be done.
Exactly. And if I wasn't here and you decided, all right, well, I'm gonna keep running this business, you got to know how to pay that stuff. Most people, I think, most families can't say that.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree, but that's part of the reason that we do it all together. I had a question and I lost my train of thought now. Let me see.
Well, while you try to figure out your train of thought, don't forget, we teach people how to run 6-figure cleaning business without cleaning houses. Cleaningbusinessuniversity.com.
So we said that we don't have anything separately, but is there any business that you would do over again and run it separately?
Any business I would do
that we have now, out of the 6 that we have now.
Separately.
Yeah.
There's really, I don't think there's anything where we're both 50% into, like 50-50. So
what does that mean?
Rental property, you're barely involved with that. The car,
a little less because we have a property manager now, but before I was dealing with the tenant.
You was dealing with the tenant. I got it up and running. You was dealing with the tenant. So let's say the car rental, you got involved with it. We had to go chase the guy down that one day
on my birthday last year.
On your birthday last year,
I had to roll up to somebody's job. I had a meeting, a big meeting at my job. Take the meeting in my car.
Yeah. So that one you're not.
I forgot about that story.
It's not 50-50. What else is there?
What else is there?
Our virtual assistant business.
I am kind of heavily involved. And I told him when we started this business, I did not want to buy the business, right?
Yeah, you definitely didn't.
And I said, okay, so you know how you have to make a LLC or something like that? Operating agreement. I'm like, you put yourself as 60% for this business. I'll put me down as 40%.
And even so, it could have been 90 and 10, and it'd still be the same.
My point was, I was fine not being so heavily involved in it because I'm like, I can't take on more. We have a lot going on. We can't take on more. So that one, I definitely was like, run it, do it on your own. Well, as much as it can be on your own versus me.
Yeah. And I think with that one, it was very important for you was like, all right, I don't want to be heavily involved with it. And that was like my thing. All right, I'm going to run it. And now you're probably more involved with it than me at this point, only because you're very nosy.
Now I'm nosy.
Because
sometimes you don't respond. They need a response.
So our virtual assistants also manage our cleaning business. So there's a gray line, there's a gray area there where you're talking to them about the cleaning business, and a question about the actual virtual assistant business comes up. So you go in and answer it. So I think there's a gray area with that one. Now, if they didn't manage our cleaning business, it would probably be different. Yeah. But I think you're in there a lot more than me. So by ipso facto, you're in there answering their questions.
Whatever.
About the actual business itself.
Mm-hmm. But so there's no business that you would start on your own out of the 6 that we have now?
Yeah, I'd start the rental property myself. I'd start the car rental myself. I'd start not the cleaning business myself because that's more customer service. What else? The virtual assistants, maybe not. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So out of 3 out of the 6, 3 out of 5. Okay. And not the podcast because I don't think it's a business yet until you start making money.
Ooh, spicy.
So if we're looking for sponsorships on here, if you want to get on the Hard Dog Hustle podcast as a sponsor, let us know. We're taking sponsors. Now, when we get our first sponsor and we start making money, then maybe I'll consider this a business. So
those things like the car rental and the investment property that you said you would do it on your own. Like the question becomes that why didn't you do it on your own then? Like you wanted for the investment property. First of all, we got it last. We got it. What year are we in? We got it 2020. August 2020 is when we got it, right? We were looking maybe a month before. I don't know. But it took years for me to agree to get an investment property. So
that's where the biggest challenge comes.
Yeah, so then you could have just did it on your own. Why did you need me to agree? That's the thing.
I can't just go and buy a property without you saying yes.
Okay. So because there's money, a lot of money, a significant amount of money involved.
If you say, and go start any business you want.
What would it be?
No, I'm not saying that. But if most of my battle wasn't convincing you that the business is worth it, I'd probably start it. Half the time is me convincing you. Then once you're convinced, you're so involved at that point where you might as well be involved in the business. Because I spent a year trying to convince you on it.
More than a year for the investment property.
If I'm spending a year trying to convince you on it, at that point, you know every nuance, everything of the business.
Every detail.
So you might as well be in it at that point.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you said I absolutely want to, if you say I absolutely, and I think I would not want to do something that you did not absolutely care about at all. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, it's like, well, this is no fun for me.
But that's the thing. You can do things independently, but you don't want to do it on your own.
Yeah, if I gotta convince you for a year, then at that point we gonna be in together.
Oh God, yeah, you don't want to do it on your own. So,
but if there was something that you could do on your own, what would you do?
I don't have anything that I would do on my own.
Okay.
I don't have any business that I want to start that I haven't.
Okay.
So it's hard because you have a lot of juices and a lot of things flowing through your head, a lot of things that you would start, and I'm like along for the ride, which is okay. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that role. Like, okay, I say yes or no, and then we move forward.
I'm like Michael Jordan. You like Scottie Pippen?
I don't know. He's been in the media negatively lately. I don't know if I want to be Scottie Pippen.
So I'm Kobe and you Shaq.
Shaq is good. I'll take Shaq. Shaq, I hear he's great. I'll take Shaq. But maybe you're more Shaq because he has a lot of businesses, by the way. So maybe you could be
maybe.
You could be him. But in regards to working together and us making it work and doing everything together, I think it starts with our relationship and then goes into our business. And so why I say that is
our personalities.
That's the word I was personalities. Say it all. If you are, I don't know how to explain it. Like there's just certain people that that are couples, not in a negative way, that I cannot see them running a business together.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just, I don't know how to get them there per se, but personalities just clash so much.
You want to name anyone?
That, hell no. I'm not going to name somebody. I can tell them that themselves. Don't do it.
About the name drop.
But that personalities clash so much that it kind of would make it difficult, to bring in a business inside of it. Because then sometimes you got to leave the personal stuff aside from the business, even though you're working together on the business. You got to be like, okay, but what are we going to do in this business? Like, what is the next step in this business? So one would say, so does that mean that they can never do a business together? I don't know, but I would say that you would probably need to work on the communication with each other first, the personalities meshing together first before just going into business, just because you're a husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever the case may be.
I agree. I think if you have a very strong-willed person, if one person is very strong-willed and the other person is very timid, I think that would be an example of people they probably shouldn't do business together.
So what's our personalities that make it work? Because
I don't think either one of us is overly has an overly strong personality where the other doesn't or can't match it. If necessary. Okay. So it's not like you're very strong and I'm very timid, or I'm very strong and you're very timid.
Yeah.
If that was the case where every time we go in the room, then Anthony's the one talking and Janoka's like, oh, okay, cool. Or every time we go in the room and Janoka's the one talking, I'm just standing like, okay, cool.
What's this low voice? The cool.
That's a timid voice. I don't know what a timid voice sounds like. But if that was the case, I would say those people probably shouldn't do business. Or if they did do business, where it would have to be the type of business where both personalities can shine. Yeah. Or not shine, but both personalities can work together.
Work the room, if you will.
Yeah. So but you got that person that's overly strong, then all of their decisions are going to be the only decisions that matter. Yeah. Because they're not going to care about you because you got no voice inside the relationship. Right. How'd you have a voice inside the business?
Or if you have two stubborn people, then how are you going to compromise on things? Or
you got two strong-willed people. That'd suck.
Yeah. Because I feel like somebody
has to be willing to compromise.
Yeah. There has to be a balance. There has to be understanding, like, okay, let's all settle down. Like, earlier today we were counting something. He's like, I'm getting frustrated. And I'm like, okay, let's relax. I'm just asking about this number, right?
Definitely got frustrated. You know why?
I'm like, come into the room. Maybe we can stop yelling from other rooms.
We're talking I'm in the living room and she's in the bedroom. She's asking me numbers about for the business, and I'm yelling numbers across the room. I'm not understanding you. You're not understanding me.
I'm like, come in the room. First of all.
And we went in the room and we got it settled.
Let's just settle down and figure it out. But if you have those type of people, like, I'm getting frustrated, and you're like, well, I'm getting frustrated too. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Then
you're about to knock all the equipment over.
Okay. Then you get nowhere, kind of, right? So what would you say is like our biggest, because not like we don't have any disagreements with the business.
So before you get to that, the other side of that is like you got two strong-willed people, but if you got two very undertone, very timid people, no one's going to want to make a decision.
Yeah. Who's making the decisions? So I think that, that's why it goes back to personality. That's why personality is so big. And I'm not saying you change your personality, but you don't necessarily have to work with your partner either. Like, it doesn't, but we see that people leave comments like, yeah, I'm trying to do that now with my husband. I'm trying to do that now with my wife, when they're trying to start the business. And I understand it, because I'm like, especially a business like this, a cleaning business, like, working with someone is a lot more helpful than you doing it on your own.
Or any business, even with real estate. If you don't know, if you have no idea what real estate is, and which was the case, and I'm telling you about real estate, and you're like, I have no idea what that is. Why would I even want to do it? Yeah. Why would I even want to bring that hardship into my family if I don't understand what it is? Yeah. And I don't think you know enough to get me to buy into it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that real estate and a lot of businesses kind of take money. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that's another piece why I think it's important that your significant other, even if they're not in it with you, kind of supports you. Because what happens then, I feel, if they don't support you at least, or like agree with you moving forward with this, when things start to go wrong, somebody's going to throw it in your face.
I think that's the 99.999% reason why I want you to be involved with everything, so that God forbid something does fail, that burden is not on my back solely. Well, it's like, we made this decision, we did and I don't think you would do that, but I think that's just a fear. Maybe that's my personal fear, where you you don't want to be like the person where you didn't want to do it, I did it, and then it failed. It's like, well, I didn't want to do it anyway. You did it, told you so. I would rather it be where, which I don't think is the case, but I would rather it be where we both made a decision to do it, and God forbid if it does fail, then we said we tried our best as a family and it didn't work out, which is a lot better than one person doing it and failing.
Right. Right, exactly. So I think that that's the other part of it. When you start something on your own and you're not feeling supported by your significant other on starting it, then it's kind of like, I think about back to Potomac. Ashley, she was working.
Show.
It's not my favorite show, but Ashley, she was working in the
Potomac? Explain to people what they're
Real Housewives of Potomac. Sorry.
Okay, there you go.
Ashley was working at, what's his name? Michael, I think his name. He had a restaurant, Australian food being sold in the Maryland area, whatever. And she was working there.
Yeah.
She ended up being a manager there or whatever the case may be. Like, so sometimes you become part of the business because you want to see the other person win, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with like Candace and her husband. He quit his job and now he's her manager or whatever because he wants to see his wife win. He wants to see her. And so supporting in that way. And I don't know now. I think if we came in with businesses, it would be different. I don't know now how either of us would start a business and the other person won't be involved at all. I don't know how that would work now. Not like it would be like negative or shady or like bad or anything. But just because we've done so much together and do so much together, I don't know how that would.
I think even when you had that project that you were working on, it was your thing. Your name was all over it. But I was so excited for you to do it. Yeah. You wanted to bring me into it.
Yeah, I was bringing you in. You're in it to win it.
Exactly. So I was more along the lines of helping you kind of get it started. He's like, oh, maybe we should do this for you. And I'm like, sure, I guess. But that wasn't my intention behind it.
Yeah.
My intention was just to make sure you had all the resources you need and my expertise and whatever I could help with to help you make sure you succeed. And then you try to bring me into it. And if we do it, maybe
and where's
I will
the
be
project now?
Life happened.
Life happened, but we able to do the podcast.
Listen, we can't talk about that other project just yet. Don't worry. It's going to be out there in the streets.
It'll happen at some point.
When it's supposed to happen. Right. But that just goes to the fact that, you want to see the other person succeed. So your goal is to help them as much as possible. If that means I'm cleaning up the restaurant, it's your restaurant, I'm cleaning it up. It is what it is.
Right. And so I think that's the reason why for us, like I said, if we came into the marriage or relationship with our own separate businesses, then maybe that would be easier to kind of wrap our mind around it. But even if, like, for example, even if you did, I don't know, you did something independently, or if I did something that is my own, then you still probably be like, well, I'll draft the emails because I'm a good writer, or I'll, do the tech behind it. So you're still kind of involved, even if I'm the face of it. Yeah. Right? So, but what I was asking was what...
Let's think about it when I was doing my blog.
Oh, I wasn't involved.
You was involved with that? Remember?
I would read it. I was proofreading your emails, and then I would like repost and share it.
Yeah. And that blog didn't last long?
That blog didn't last, but it was a really good blog though. It was a good blog.
Imagine we did that blog together.
Yes, but I didn't have the capacity. How we both writing together?
Well, we're not writing. I don't know.
Exactly.
I have no idea what you could have did.
Yeah, exactly. But I proofread it.
Well, this is the modern day version of a blog. This podcast here. So
that's true. But so it was a writing, and then we have a debt-free course actually, which we'll put that in the show notes. And even that, you did it on your own. Yeah. You recorded it on your own. However, you came to me and said, this is the information I'm going to put in it. What do you think about this order? Yeah. How do I sound on this one? I listened to all of it. I didn't edit it per se, but definitely was part of the editing process. Yeah. So I guess those are other ways that...
Look at me doing my own thing, Look at me doing my own thing.
It was ways that we were involved, but not necessarily like doing it together.
Yeah.
Right. So I was asking what it has been our biggest differences in business or biggest disagreements when it comes to business.
I think the biggest disagreements in business with us would be around...
I remember one.
No, I was just thinking about business in general. I'm not thinking about anything specific.
Oh, but I had an example. Go ahead. You think I have my own thing.
Now are we saying here this is a therapy session?
No.
I'm thinking about our biggest disagreement comes around the next project and starting. When is it too much? right? So I'm always like, all right, we got next project, we got something else to do, we got more ways to create income or just other projects in general. So I think our biggest disagreements come around like when do we start the next project, or I think that's where it comes around to.
Okay. Okay. I definitely was thinking specifically because I thought about like a big disagreement that we had in starting out, which eventually matches for all businesses, was like spending marketing money.
Yeah.
Right. Spending the money to get the money. Cause I was just like, no, why put that much money in? But I don't know what business doesn't have marketing dollars or have, all these companies has marketing dollars for people to see them, visibility, and then people buy from you.
Yeah, billboards, TV, radio.
Yeah, commercials, everything.
Everything.
Every business has marketing money that they're spending. And so that was something, but I say that was specific to our cleaning business, but I say that across the board, even just when it comes to like our heartrimony and stuff like that, our brand and stuff, like there's marketing money with ads and stuff that we have to do or that we do.
If you're not exposed to people, how can they support you?
Right.
How can they pay for your service?
How do they even know we exist? There's billions of people in this world. We are, without the marketing, we're tapping into hundreds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with the marketing, we can go even further.
Exactly.
Even further. But what other?
So those are the type of disagreements you have in a business, in any business. But I think along the lines of, all right, when do you scale? When is it too much? How do you set the boundaries in the business too? I think that's a big one for us. I think you do most of that because I'll talk about business 24/7.
I said it. I make it very clear.
So when you have a spouse and you guys run, let's say, one business or multiple businesses, how do you set boundaries in a relationship where you say, I don't want to do business, I don't want to talk about it, or however
you just say it.
Okay.
Simply.
When do you know? When is it too much?
I don't know. I don't know if there's an exact like, at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, it's too much. It varies. It could be depending on my day. Like if I have an overwhelming day at work and I've had a lot of clients like doing therapy sessions, and then you want to come talk about the business, I'm like, not today. Yeah. Or if we go out on dinner with just both of us and I'm like, I'm not talking about the business. And sometimes I still bring it up, right? Yeah. Or if we're like the dinner table, we're like no phones, right? Or the table, our breakfast bar. So even for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's like, okay, no phones. So that means there's no business interactions or anything happening. Or
I'm working on it.
Yeah, our biggest thing from the beginning was when we walked our dog, no phones, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty decent at that one.
You okay? And there were some people that are like, well, why not? I'm like, because you need to pay attention to your surroundings, okay? A dog could run up on our dog. You need to be aware, okay? Or if the dog pulls, I don't know what could happen.
But then that's also a form of family time, too.
A form of family time and the boundaries and stuff. And so that's how we set the boundaries, simply by saying it. Or like if we are going on
our Sunday long walks.
Yes, our Sunday long walks that we do. That's a big deal where we reflect back and have those things. We're going on vacations. Like we're not fully at a point that we can leave all businesses at home, meaning like I can turn my phone off for 6 days and I'll be fine. I mean, probably can, but would we do it? Probably not, because we're not there yet. But there's boundaries in that way when we're in certain settings and things like that. And I think we have an understanding for that. But like you said, mainly I have to set it because for you would just continue to talk about it. Not that it's negative, but it's something that you're so excited about. You start thinking about new ideas. You're like,
all the time.
I'm with this person. They said this. We should probably do this. And, I think this can be helpful. And I'm like, write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. That's my thing. If we're watching a show and you think about something, I'm like, write it down. We don't got to talk about it right now.
That's the difference between us too. Like I'm always involved so that my mind is always going. I'm always getting new ideas. I'm reading. I'm talking to people, listening to podcasts. I'm always having new ideas. And when you have a relationship with your spouse where you're trying to, especially when you're trying to build an empire like we are, you're always having ideas. You're always trying to think about the next step. So if my mind is always going and your mind is like, my mind is always like this, and you're like,
I'm definitely
and
I'm like, I'm cool.
You have to be okay with knowing that person may not have the same excitement as you too.
Right.
So if you have this new idea, it's like when we started our debt-free journey. And imagine if I would have went to that course and came back with everything I learned, and I'm talking about getting out of debt, and you like, nah, I'm not with it. it wouldn't, that journey would not have worked. So when my mind is always going and I always have an idea, I have to be mindful that, all right, your mind is not going to be right there where I'm at right now.
Not all the time, no. And then even with the boundaries, that separation, which we do a lot of things together, but at least you go to the gym by yourself. We used to even work out together, but we haven't worked out together in a bit. But you at least go to the gym together.
We still do our Sunday walks.
Back to the Sunday one day.
Just one day a week.
And I was gonna say you at least go into the office 3 days a week, but that's not gonna be happening anymore.
I think we forgot about that too.
Yeah. So, but even when COVID was happening, we were working in the same exact room. So we were making it work that way. So that's how we do the boundaries. But how else do we kind of make it work with us? So when we were doing the debt-free journey, I put a contract in place that he had to sign.
An agreement. Yep.
An agreement. And somebody be like, what? The agreement just really spoke about us being able to do like some fun things, still go to Greece, still go to Beyonce concert, but also still, I'm trying to look for the exact wording of it. I want to read it to you guys of exactly what it says.
Well, if it's right there.
I do have it. I favorited it. Okay, here we go. So it also said, like, I shall not get frustrated with Janoka throughout this process. Yep. I will listen to her side of things when it comes to debt, finances, and budgeting. Let me see. What does it say here? I vow that once we pay off the debt, we'll be able to travel as much as we want to.
Yep.
So then it also says, I vow to talk out my issues. This doesn't necessarily pertain to the issues we directly share with each other, but issues overall to help us both relieve stress and hash out the problems we face daily. So it was a good contract. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
So long story short, having a contract or agreement when you're going to when you're trying to set these boundaries.
Yeah, having it written and having those open discussions. We still have family meetings monthly, where we go over our budget, but also just reflecting back on how was the month, how was work, how is our sex life, how is our family life, how is everything like that. Is everybody still satisfied? What's missing? What's not? So all those honest conversations we have, and that helps us, I think, personal and business. What we do in our personal life kind of transfers into business.
And I was listening to something, probably a podcast, I'm not sure, but it was a conversation, and they said, do you have it was this couple, they wasn't even married, they was just dating, and they said, my spouse is on board with what I'm doing, how do I make sure that we stay on the same page? And the person was like, do you guys have any contracts together? And they was like, nah, they're she's all for it or whatever. Like, we're both in. It was a deed on they was going to buy a rental property. That's what it was. They was buying a rental property. And the person asked, like, do you guys have any contracts basically saying the operating agreement, who owns what? And they say, nah, she's on board. I don't think that would ever happen. We should be good. And in my mind, I'm like, we're married by law and also under God.
Contract.
Under God, but we still have contracts. So why would you think as just a person that's dating, you're going to buy a house and you're not going to make sure that that person is going to have the name on a deed or not have an operating agreement?
That's important. It kind of reminds me of prenups.
Well, not prenups. I would say just any operating agreement. Basically, what happens if this doesn't go with a prenup?
That's kind of what
we have operating agreements for our businesses.
No, yes.
So if, let's say something does go right, the operating agreement is what it is.
Right.
They don't have anything. So why would people think that me not having that in place for a spouse or significant other?
Because love conquers all. That's why. And
our operating agreement is only because it's like when you create your LLC, that's like one of the things you have to have that.
Yeah.
So when you're going to the bank or you're going for a loan or you're going for this, you have to have that agreement. So.
But that's the reason people, don't get prenups and don't get these certain agreements, because they're like, love conquers all. That's not going to happen. If I put that in place, I'm setting the tone that something bad is going to happen. That's how some people think.
I just think operating agreement is really just saying, how are you guys going to operate the business? That's not a worst case scenario. It's just like,
this is what you need.
Yeah, that's literally what you need. So having that operating agreement or some sort of agreement in place is very important.
And so along the lines of the boundaries and all that type of stuff, is like, is our life only business? Is that the only thing that our life consists of?
It's a big part of our life.
It's a big part, but is it the only thing?
No, definitely not.
Okay, it's a question. It's a question for conversation, not a personal question.
We had this YouTube video. What was it?
What was it?
This was old school YouTube. Like 2017, we did a video where it said, did we get married for the business aspect or something? This is early. Wow. You see
it was early on. It was early on. I don't even remember what was said in that. We definitely did not have any business.
It was like,
but
is marriage, it said, is marriage a business transaction or something like that?
Because, I mean, to get married, you have to sign. I mean, so it is some type of business happening with the state. With the
state, yeah.
The state. There is a business thing going on there.
There's a business transaction.
There's a business transaction along with everything else, but that is a component of it if we want to be literal about it.
Definitely.
But no, our life does not consist of only business, and I think that that's what attracts a few people to us, like listening to us, is that we still enjoy ourselves. That would always be the case as long as I'm alive. I mean, when he by himself, I don't know if he can still be having fun or not. You're gonna have to drag him out the house. But that balance is important because, you know, I work so hard for what, right? I work so hard to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like, I'm not just gonna be working and not doing the things that I want to do. Whatever that want to do looks like. If that wants to do is having a big wedding, if that's having a pool in your home, if that's traveling, if that, you know, whatever the case may be, then we're going to do it. If I want to just go to a steakhouse on a Tuesday and not be a celebration, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the challenges too with having a partner in your relationship, is that when the money comes in, it's the family's money.
Right.
If we weren't spouses, we weren't partners in the business, like my money's my money, your money's your money, you go spend it the way you want. Mm-hmm. But since we are a family, like the money comes in for the business, it's not like yours and mine, it's both of ours.
Yeah. Well, that's how we run it. We got to make sure that that's clear, because not everybody share their money.
That's true.
Not everybody share their money.
Like, let's say we weren't spouses. Like the money comes, business comes in, the money comes in, it goes to your household and it goes to my household, and that's that. I don't have to worry about how you spend your money, because I don't care. As long as the business is still making money, you can spend your money the way you want.
That's when people get in trouble with the tax evasion, because you're spending the money where you want.
Outside of
that,
outside of that, this really doesn't matter, because you got your own house, I got my own house, and that's how we decide, to split it.
Yeah.
But the way we run our businesses and our families, that all money comes in, it's one pot, it's us. But that's just our partnership agreement in business.
Yeah, that's what works for the Hartzog household.
Yeah.
What would you say is the worst thing of working with each other?
I think the worst thing about having your spouse in your business is that the business is always there. No matter if we say we're not going to talk about it or not, it's always going to be there.
Somewhere in your head.
Yeah. So if let's go back to like split. Let's say we were just partners, not married, not dating or anything. I go home to my family. They're not going to want to hear about my business, so it's not going to be a conversation. So, but with us, it's always going to be at the back of my mind or in the conversation, because
something to do, something to work on.
Because if I go home, I had a separate family, or you had a separate family, or we weren't even dating or anything, nobody's gonna want to hear about that. Nobody cares. Like, the business is good, business is bad, whatever. But given the fact that we're married, it's always going to be there in the back of my mind. That would be it for me.
Okay.
Good, bad, or indifferent. If things are going well, I'm happy. Things are going bad, sad, it's in the house.
The worst thing of working with my partner, I don't know. I've never thought about the worst thing. But the worst thing working with you specifically.
Wow. The specifics for me.
Now I got something specific. The worst thing about working with you specifically is that your mind doesn't shut off. That's really the
worst.
That's
the specifics for me.
It's the specifics for me. That's the thing. That it never... Like, it doesn't have to be that. I don't know how to explain it. Like you said, your mind is just always going. And so you're always bringing new ideas. And I'm like, let's just bask in what we have now. Like, that's enough. We don't need more. I don't need more than 6 businesses. I'm looking to cut down one of them, please. And that's another episode for another time. Yeah. But I don't need more. And for you, it's like more. Does that go back to like just your relationship with money and making sure that we're set? Does that go back to you just being the man of the household and making sure that your family is covered?
If you guys didn't check out our episode, Relationship with Money, it'll be linked below somewhere too.
Yes. Does that go back to that? Maybe. I mean, maybe. And so that's my worst thing. So on the flip side of it is like, what's the best thing of working with your partner? Or I should just say me. I mean, there's no other partner.
I would say the best part about having a business with your spouse is that you guys are in it together. And I think it's different when it's your household. Your household name is on it. If we were just separate people who had businesses, if it failed, it's like, all right, well, it failed. Like, that's the end of the day. But I think having that spouse in your relationship in your spouse and your business relationship, it changes the game because now your last name is on it. No matter if your last name is on it or
You
not.
love a last name, child.
Exactly. I used to hate my last name growing up. Now it's on everything. You see how that works in business? See how that works in business? You put your last name on everything.
Your last name screwed me with my first name. That's what I'll say about that.
Nobody told your mom to name you that and then
my maiden last name was easy, so if people couldn't say the first name, they could get the last name.
You
but
messed up
now it's
either
just a
one.
tongue twister of like, is she white? Is she black? What's happening?
That's a good thing. They don't need to know.
What's happening here?
With that first name, they definitely know though.
Huh?
With your first name, they know if you white or black.
Certain people love my first name. Okay, very pretty.
That's what they
Thank
say
you.
when they can't say the name. Like, it was very pretty. What
Here
type of
you
name
go.
is that?
She made it up. And for me, the best thing of working with my partner, the best thing with working with you, I would say, just in general, is just exposing me to something different. Because I'm actually very open-minded, but I think
so.
Exposing me to something different when it comes to business, when it comes to raising income, when it comes to just entrepreneurship, that's like the best thing for me because I don't get that additional information anywhere else. I don't seek it out either.
Yeah.
So I know that I can turn to you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely are one especially when it comes to our businesses. Like, I think we both kind of do this though. Like, if something is going wrong, it's like, it's okay. We're going to bounce back. Like, we ain't going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a temporary thing. So I think you
moment in
need
time.
that. Because if you both are just like, yeah, this ain't working, we out. We all out. This ain't working. You just
We dipping
head
on this.
down. You dipping. Then it ain't gonna work,
Yeah.
right? So I think that is what I enjoy most about it. So.
What would be one thing you would tell someone? What would be one piece of advice you would give someone before deciding if they're going into business with their spouse?
That's a really good. I said personalities, but you can't check your personality.
can't.
But yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
you already
can
there.
work on your personality, but that ain't
You
gonna
already
change.
there with
That ain't
them.
gonna change most of the time. One thing I would tell someone before they go into business with their partner, knowing when to shut it off, probably.
Okay. That's a good
Knowing
one.
when to shut it off, making sure you set those boundaries, and like if you're getting frustrated, or either you're getting frustrated, you can come back to it. Like,
Yeah.
it may not be a decision. If it's not a decision that needs to be made right now, we can come back to it, or whatever the case may be. So
That's
that would be-
also relationship advice too. You always got to figure it out right now.
that's definitely true. That's
For
definitely
me,
true.
for me, I would say one piece of advice I would give someone before going into business with their spouse is to make sure that they understand the business. Even if you don't think they ever will, try your best to make sure they understand.
Oh,
it.
you say to make sure the other person's comfortable.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
And you get more comfortable the more you understand. So don't just come and say, I want to start this cleaning business and not have any details around it.
Right,
Make
right.
sure that they're comfortable with the idea. So that means you got to learn more about that business so that you can thoroughly explain it to them so that they feel comfortable. And that'll be it for me.
Yeah. And that is it on our part. Make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, share, leave some 5-star reviews for us.
Yes.
This helps us to continue to grow and become a real business, as Anthony said, since we ain't making no money, it ain't a real business. But
Still early.
yes, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else?
Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, this episode is brought to you by Cleaning Business University. If you guys are interested in starting and running a 6-figure cleaning business without cleaning houses, check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. Link will be below. Appreciate you guys being here and keep hustling.
Bye.
Peace.
This has been an episode of the Heartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Janilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money.